Hello, everyone. Welcome to Newcastle Fans TV and our latest NUFC Women podcast. Joe will be joining me very shortly. He is sending in some clips because we're all busy and we've got a few to rattle around some news today. And this podcast, if you are listening to the audio, please drop us, you know what to do. Come on, 5 stars. That would be lovely on all your podcast apps. It helps to get with search. But we are live also on YouTube and we are live on Twitch. Today we've got some sad news where we'll be talking about the passing of Colin Lock, who sadly passed away on Saturday night. We'll be touching upon that as well. We've also got the Naomi Bedu, who's got herself a great move to Nottingham Forest. We'll be touched upon that. The Milan fixture, the Seller Cup, which is brilliant for the lasses to play a top side in Serie A. Rachel Furness comes back home, a local lass who's been away from the club for years. She has now returned back to the club, so we'll have a full in-depth chat around her. And of course, the fixtures have come out today as well. So we've got 2 derbies in the league in Durham, but more importantly, the big one, which is Sunderland. And we'll have a little look at that clashes with any of the men's and so on like that. But it is with a heavy heart that I do have to start with the sad news of Colin Lock passing away. And this was a massive, massive shock for me. I've been in tears this morning twice now. And I just hope, I don't break down during the live stream because I have been... It's just hit us. It's really, really hit me because Colin touched so many people. And I can talk about myself, but other people can talk about themselves and their story with Colin. He was just a lovely, lush bloke. He was. Known him for a few years now, going to the women's games for 5-6 years. And I will share my memories with Colin as well. But there's massive tributes across the community on social media. And from obviously, I've just seen Sue Cummins tweet, and I'm sure the players will. They found out this morning just before training. And it's come as a massive, massive shock because he is literally Newcastle United. He is, and what a bloke, man. What an absolute honour to meet him. Absolute legend. And I called him legend and he used to laugh and all this sort of stuff and go, I'm not a legend, but he is literally Newcastle United. Lots of nice tributes from players, ex-players as well will come shortly, but I've obviously seen players' parents have already come out. And he's made so many memories for Newcastle United women. And I think it's before Newcastle United women got big, he was there. He was doing it all out of his own free will. He's an absolute legend. He is. I'll come to your comments. Yeah. Big Ed's says, God bless you, Colin. Ian's gone out to say, very sad news, a real legend. James has gone out and said, only met him a couple of times and I knew him being unwell. It was really privileged to have met him and spoke to him. He was a lovely to me, total stranger as anyone. Rest in peace, Colin, says Paul. Rest in peace, Colin, says Carl. Colin was the most wonderful man. I will miss him seeing him at Kings Park, really. He was the best of us, yeah. Right. But yeah, as I say, he was an absolute, honestly, he was a legend. I want to try and spin it a little in a few positives as well, because I will end up crying, and I'm trying really hard not to, yeah. He has a picture of me, Colin, Joe as well. Joe's in bits as well. He found out today on his break. So did Johnny, to be fair. I want to tell you some stories about Colin, because when I go to a home game or a away game, I don't look for the players. I don't even look for NFTV members. That's just me being honest. I don't look for Becky. The first thing I do, where's Colin? That's the first thing I do, home or away. So if I'm travelling to the women's game on my own, the first thing I'll still do is go and find Colin. And then what we do is we'll have a bit of a banter. You'll tell me some news about maybe someone's got a niggle, isn't playing today, and he used to feed me that information. I mean, I shouldn't really be saying that, but he does this for free. Obviously, he's just been rewarded since the club gone professional and was paid for it, but for over 14 years, he was doing this totally for free, taking pictures of the lasses. And not just Newcastle United women, he also does grassroots as well. He's even done Sunderland as well. And he just goes out of his time. You got to remember, he's given up his time to do it. He's not getting paid. Obviously, yes, the last year he has. But all this time, the money and the effort that he's putting in, obviously his daughter, Courtney, obviously played for the Lasses as well, captain the Lasses. I remember winning the County Cup at Whitley Park. And he was just literally Mr. Newcastle United. And it's a massive, massive loss. We are going to do a tribute to Colin later on this week as well, because it is still very, very, very raw. But when I used to say, man, he used to face his light and goes, how you doing, Lee? You all right? And I used to go, hello, Colin, lad. Yeah, and he used to just brighten my day. And I think in a small aspect, hopefully that little brief moment, I brightened his day up. And he used to say, I can't wait for your video of the night. And when I put the women's vlogs together, and he goes, I love them. I love seeing them back and all this. And then we used to do little daft things with Colin. If he was from a distance, I'll put a David Attenborough voice on. Goes, and so we have the male habitat when he's taking his photo. Used to wind each other up, but he would give it back as well, mind. He would give it back and all of that, and he used to tell us, like, he used to get dead excited at the smallest of things because he was so proud of what he was. So, for example, he used to say, my photo's been in this magazine or the newspaper the other day, and you get proper buzzing from it. You get a proper high from it, and I used to just look at it and think, wow, he's absolutely proud as punch to have his photo put out there. And when he's been asked to do a few interviews, like, interview me, why do they want to interview me for? And all this, and he was getting he was like a child in a sweet shop, easy for me to say, when he was taking photos at St. James's Park, because obviously that's a big thing for him. And he was getting proper high as a kite, telling me he was proper like excited, like a little kid at school. So that's where he got the buzz from. Taking photos, it was his passion. And you've also got to remember that Newcastle United women obviously now have a bigger team now and have a media team. But before the takeover, without the photos, Newcastle United women had nothing. I know Dean did a little bit, but for years upon years, all the history of Newcastle United women is through Colin. Without his photos, so many people wouldn't know that there was a women's team because of him. And he's got a catalogue of thousands upon thousands and thousands. And even another thing where he used to take a photo of me from a distance of me and Joe, and he got through the camera. We used to laugh and all that sort of stuff. Little things that he used to do. And of course, we're seeing it with the Charlotte Potts giving him his medal, easy for me to say, when we won the championship, because Charlotte was looking over and Colin was just working, taking loads of photos, and Charlotte just looked at him for, I adore you, have me medal. That was a lovely moment. And obviously Charlotte's got it back, but it's just the real niceness of Charlotte to do that, because she recognised the work that he puts in. Look, the other girls do as well, but that was a moment for me where that was a powerful moment. That was like, wow. And he's going to be greatly, greatly missed. We always used to have a laugh about, I captured him on the vlogs up Drew Park a few years ago. He fell off his seat, the little seats that he sits on. The ball hit him and he fell backwards, and I got it on camera. I was laughing my heads off. Couldn't keep it. We used to laugh about it for years. So I've got some really nice memories of Colin as well, and I'm sure everybody else has done as well. But yeah, it's hit me and do you know what it is? I've never got upset like that before. For people that isn't like family members or close friends, but Colin was a friend to me, and we interviewed him when we had the office in the city centre, me and Johnny, and we wanted to get him because he is Newcastle United. It's not the Lasses, it's not Becky, it's not the assistants, it's not Sue, it's Colin. He is Newcastle United. He represents everything that every single one of us lives and breathes. Newcastle United and Newcastle United women and the badge, yeah. He was Mr. Newcastle United, and he's going to be greatly, greatly missed. So rest in peace, Colin. So with a heavy heart, we will move on to some transfers out and in. Naomi Bedu has got her transfer. And I'm actually delighted for her. Really surprised to see Nom leave the club because I thought she was outstanding last season. Got the injury and she wasn't seen for the last, about 10 games or so. I might be wrong on that, but I'm sure it's about 10 games. Always had time to speak to Joe. Always had time to speak to me. Our parents spoke to us. Loved the channel. Loved the vlogs. That was really nice. That was outside the Man United game. Lovely, lovely human being. Great football. I'm really surprised we haven't kept her on. But she's joined Nottingham Forest, who've just gone full time. And if you remember, they beat us last season and they won the league the previous season and didn't go up over some daft playoff, which has now been changed, thankfully. But Nottingham Forest will 100% go up. But Joe absolutely loves Naomi, and he sent this little clip in.
Yes, Naomi Bedu. If you look close enough, I have got a signature in there. Probably should have chose a better colour. Honestly, from Newcastle United women last season, one of my top players. Even when she was injured, she still stood out to me that last season. What a phenomenal. I was very, very, very sad to lose her. So, for Naomi to be signing for Nottingham Forest, who have recently announced, obviously, that their ladies are full-time and that they are also going to be playing every home game at their Premier League ground, which we actually got a nice chance to visit last season. Excellent, where I met Naomi. Look, work rate, phenomenal. Ambition is practically unmatched. The lass is a powerhouse and she doesn't even seem it. She has got pace. You want a left back who can run up and down the wing and really feed into the attack. You've got Naomi Bedu. You want a left back who can slot quickly into the centre back position and block an opposition. You've got Naomi Bedu. Honestly, I think it is one of the best bits of business that a squad will do in this window. Naomi Bedu, Nottingham Forest, you guarantee they're coming up to the Championship next season. Naomi, all the best here. Honestly, I would love to be able to catch up with you. Love to be able to catch up down at Nottingham Forest as well. We'll see what the season holds. All the very best here. Back over to you, Lee.
For Joe, we will be hearing from Joe very, very shortly once again. But as I say, a fantastic signing for Nottingham Forest. They're getting an absolute great defender. Centre back, left back. Brilliant. What a signing for them it is, by the way. And that's probably the biggest profile signing that's left us so far. In terms of Nottingham Forest being professional, the standard as well. So it is a fantastic move for Nom as well. I can see some of your comments. Please do pop them in. A lot of love for Colin there. I'll read a couple of them out before I read the statement on Naomi. Northern Sharks gone out saying, my thoughts go out with the friends and family of Colin. Ever since I started going to Kingston Park and seeing the lasses, Colin would always be mentioned. Rest in peace, Colin. You will always be remembered. Carl says rest in peace as well. Steve's gone out and say, I was completely gutted to see the news this morning. He was always so friendly and put so much effort in travelling home and away. And very sad. And Mike's gone so sad as well. But yeah, keep your comments coming in, everybody. The statement that Naomi and our head coach, Carly Davis, Carly's gone out and say Naomi is a player who impressed us last season in our fixtures against Newcastle. Naomi is an athletic defender who will provide versatility across the back line. She's a competitive player who knows how to win this league, and experience will serve her as well as we look ahead at the exciting league campaign. And obviously Nom's gone on to say, I'm really excited to be here. I've had a lot of conversations with the club and saw the direction it's going in. And I'm excited just to be happy to be on board. So it's an unbelievable move for her. She's had a great time up in Thailand. I'm sure she was up in Thailand enjoying a holiday, an extended holiday over there. So it's some beautiful pictures that she was taking as well. But great signing. We will come to Rachel Furness in a couple of moments as well. But moving on to the Seller Cup, which we have obviously been announced. Well, actually, if you don't know, I'll let Joe announce it for you.
Yes, Lee, Seller Cup, Seller Day as I've been calling it, because yes, although it's happening on the Friday, look, ladies, gents, you've got to face it. The fact that the women are first on the Saturday, people are going to come to the women's game. They're going to stay for the men's game as well, which is where I think they messed up last year. It is what it is. We're here now. We're doing it right now. This is what mistakes do. Do you know what I mean? So yes, the women first. on the Saturday, sell a cup day, tickets on from as little as £10. Get yourselves down, me and Emmy or Gann. It's going to be cracking, man. But who are they going against? AC Milan? AC Milan women. What? Yeah, that is a star-studded line up. I tell you now, us going against AC Milan women, these are Champions League playing women. These are top tier. It is going to be a tough game.
Heard there it is Milan that Newcastle United. We got a heads up about this about two and a half weeks ago. It might be a bit longer than that. That was going to be Milan. It was confirmed. So a fantastic opposition for the lasses to be playing against Milan, who are playing Serie A. They come 7th last season. Obviously, they don't have a big league similar to the WSL. I think there's only 12 teams in there. Their league system's a little bit different, where the bottom 6 go into playoffs to avoid relegation. But they avoided it. But still, it's top tier team that Newcastle will playing against in the first against European opposition for so many years. So a fantastic game, and obviously that will be on, as Joe's mentioned, first. Before then, the men play against Stade Brest, who have managed to qualify for the Champions League, I believe, which is incredible. And obviously, the night before, we'll play on the Friday as well. So get yourselves down. It's a cheap day out for the family as well. So, of course, we'll be bringing you coverage from that once I get back from Japan. But yeah, great for that as well. And a great comment just coming from Jodie's at St. James Park saying, rest in peace, yeah, for Colin. Absolute legend. As I say, we will be making a tribute later on this week for him, and Jackie's gone on to say the same thing as well. So, on to a new signing and another unreal signing, Rachel Furness. Unbelievable. Now, yes, she's pictured wearing a Northern Ireland, but don't let that fool you. She is Newcastle bread and butter. She's obviously from the Northeast, loves the tune. She is the moon to be signing for the tune. I spoke to her about it as well. She cannot wait. She's obviously played at Newcastle before for 4 years when we were amateur. But it's another big statement that Newcastle have gone and get someone who played in the WSL last season. So it's a great signing. She plays in centre midfield. She can also do a job on the right-hand side. But Newcastle United squad is starting to come together. I believe we've still got 2 spaces left because we've got to submit a 25-woman squad. So that's now up to 23. So no doubt Newcastle United will be looking at strengthening. Before kick-off, obviously, the championship fixtures have just come out, which we will touch upon very, very shortly. But it's a great signing. It's another statement. Yes, she's just turned 36 last month, but she'll bring massive experience. We will have a couple of look at our stats in a second. But Joe, of course, wanted his say on it. Yeah, you go, Joe.
Was a magpie. Rachel Furness. Come on down. Yeah. What a signing, man. What a signing. Like, look, she can play right mid. She can play centre mid. She has had extensive time at Liverpool. She's had a great career at Liverpool, might I say that as well. Great time at Bristol City. Yes, she's been to Sunderland. Yes, she's had a great time at Reading. Like, this lass's list goes on and on and on. Bags of experience, bags of knowledge, and a great talent to have on any flourishing team. Now, I'm going to go back to my Demi Stokes thing that I said in the last podcast. Rachel Furness, for me, is a signing that isn't just about a talent on the pitch. I personally think Rachel Furness is a signing so that Becky can get a lot of on-field teaching and learning happening for the younger lasses. This is a big step up. We can't stress that enough. This is a big step up, and we need someone who's got experience in these big step ups. Rachel Furness is that type of experience. Rachel Furness is a leader. I wouldn't be surprised if some of these players, like say your Demi Stokes, Rachel Furness, maybe not Demi Stokes, but potentially Rachel Furness is in contention for the captain's armband because of how much of a leader they can be. And I think that is a big quality in Rachel Furness. It's that leadership role that she brings. Don't get us wrong. Don't get me wrong at all, right? Lass can score a goal. Lass can swing in a cross. Rachel Furness is a baller, people. Trust. Great player to have. But that's a bonus in my eyes. Bring on the leadership. Can't wait for that. Back over to you, Lee.
She could be in the running for the leadership captaincy. Obviously, we know that Amber is the on-field captain, Grace is the club captain. But maybe you don't need to appoint her as captain because she'll already have that herself. I think Demi Stokes, of course, will also as well. Before we read out a couple of statements and we'll look at our stats as well, James has got a comment about the signings, and he's gone on to say, I love the experience they're bringing in for the championship charge. Some really good role models for the younger players like Boddy and McQuaid. So, yeah, and Chris, if you don't care about football, why are you here? Simple as that. Why are you here? And do you think we can do the treble, says Northern? That's a tough one. What, in terms of, because remember, we've got the Continental Cup, the FA Cup, and the league. Nah, I'll be happy with one, and that's promotion, even if we come second. I'll take that. It'd be nice to have a couple of cup runs. I'm very intrigued with the Continental Cup because we will be playing low. I think it's regionalised, and then we could have a WSL side in that as well. And yeah, so we'll have to see on the draw for that. That's in September, I believe, the fixtures for the draw. But let's have a look at what Rachel has said about coming. Yeah. So on signing for the tune, Rachel's gone out and say, a sign for a club I've supported my whole life, coming back to the Northeast. It's a very proud moment for us. Anyone who knows us knows I bleed black and white. I've watched from afar over the years, and the ambitions of the club on and off the pitch are something I can't wait to be part of. I'm excited to meet the team and bring my experience into already very talented squad. And of course, Becky's gone on to say that Rachel has had an excellent career and she will undoubtedly add very good experience to the team. She's a winner, and I love that about her. She's excellent in the air and an all-round good footballer. We can't wait to see her flourish back in a hometown club. Of course, she's back in the tune. If you follow her on Instagram, she has been in Newcastle for a few weeks, so it's not a huge shock for a lot of people who watch a lot of the women's stuff as well. So it's not a wow. It's kind of like signing. It's a shock. It's a wow signing, but it's not a shock, if that makes sense. Geordie Toonfly's horrendous news on Colin yet. Simi's gone to say recipes Colin as well. But yeah, I'm sure they meant treble back to back. Yeah, possibly, Steve. Possibly. I mean, I'll take second place because that should get up now with the promotion on there. So fantastic to have her back, and obviously she's would have been in training today, and obviously it would have been sad news as I touched upon the top of the show there with Colin passing, but they would have been told that first thing this morning. But great signing for her. Let's have a look at a couple of her some information on her, and we'll take a look at her stats in the last 5 years. So Rachel Furness then. Now, what it's going to impress you is look at those goals. 95 international caps for Northern Ireland. Obviously, she qualifies through her family. 38 goals at international level for a midfielder. That is class. She's the all-time top scorer for Northern Ireland. Bet you didn't know that. Unbelievable. Cracking. For a midfielder. Incredible. Loads of experience in the WSL. 3 times championship winner. Used to play for us, but she also, like many of the lasses in the Northeast, used to play for Sunderland because we all knew that Sunderland were the big team in the Northeast, but not anymore. We're here. We're here to compete as well. But yeah, so I hope the club do something special for his memory. Going back to Colin, says Simi. Yeah, we do as well. I have reached out to Sue to I'm sure they will. And Anne's gone out to say about Colin, I only know you for watching Lee and the lads on NFTV over the last 2 seasons. I miss you so very much because you were very much a big part of the coverage he was. Big part of it as well. Yeah, so thank you very much. And just gone out to say thinking of you all late, the whole NFTV and NUFC as well. So yeah, but yeah, it is sad news, but we'll keep it with the positives for this story anyways. But great experience. And it'd be interesting to see if she commands to start right from the beginning to go straight in that centre midfield, because you're probably going to upset one or 2 people. But she can also cover on the right-hand side as well. Obviously, Bethel Lumsden plays there, but we don't have anyone who's naturally a winger to compete with her, unless you drop Fergie over on that right-hand side as well. But let's take a look at and I said fixtures because I'm coming up with the fixtures in a moment. We won't. We will talk about her last 5 years and her experience. So the top, as you can see on the graphic, if you're listening, apologies, but I'll still read them out. If you're watching the top of the graphic, it's going in reverse. So last season, she played in the WSL for Bristol City, playing 10 games in the league, got a goal, got an assist. The season before that, she was at Liverpool for the first part of the season, playing 9 games, 1 goal, 0 assists. But then she moved to Bristol City, and of course, went up, winning the Championship, 11 games, no goals, no assists. The season before that, obviously Liverpool win the Championship as well. She played 19 games, scoring 5 goals and 6 assists. So that's probably, in terms of numbers, that's the best in the last 5 years. The season before that in the Championship, again with Liverpool, 15 games, 5 goals, 0 assists. So these are good stats for a midfielder at this level as well, remember. And then Liverpool in the WSL, the season before, obviously they went down that season. She played 13 games, scoring 5 goals. So it's a good record. Some strikers will be happy with them goal returns in the Championship. They really would. In the last five years, 77 games, 17 goals and 7 assists in the last 5 years. Of course, in the league campaign, you probably think them numbers are a little bit low, but that's just because the women only play between 20 and 22 league games. Obviously, they've got a lot more cup competitions on top of that as well. But goal scoring midfielder, as Becky said in her statement as well, she can score with her head as well. So yeah, that is a great signing for Newcastle United. Unbelievable. Great signing. More to come. We'll just pause and read some of your comments out before we'll move on to the fixtures, which is probably the biggest positive news today. And Simmy's, I hope the club do something for his memory yet. And yeah, thank you for your comment there. And Northern Shark, interestingly, they're going to say Colin wanted an example of how we can all come together as one big family. Spot on. That's what the lasses have, is a huge community feel as well. And he was a big cog on that. A massive cog. And Jay, nice to see you, pal. Only knew Colin through this channel. Quite a testament that all Newcastle, Sunderland and Middlesbrough have all posted condolences. Rest in peace. It goes to show you the man of the North East, because obviously Newcastle was his bread and butter and he loved it, but he's obviously done grassroots for the North East clubs as well, including Sunderland, as I mentioned. He's an absolute legend, and as I say, I've got my composure together, and I was wobbling. I was in 2 minds doing the video today when I heard the news. I was like, oh, because I've already been in tears a couple of times. Excuse me. But yeah, great, nice thoughts with Colin. So thank everybody for that. Right, the big one, of course, the positive news. The fixtures were out today. Great, so we can pinpoint when are we playing Sunderland. Let's have a look at the first 5 fixtures, and then what we'll do, we'll take a look at the full fixtures. So the first 5 fixtures, if you haven't seen them, there you go. For people listening on audio, the first 5 fixtures will commence either. And now on this graphic, for people that are watching, you'll see 2 dates. So, for example, London City first up is either the 7th or the 8th. That's because the Championship and the WSL play on both days. So that'll be narrowed down closer to the time. So on the Saturday or the Sunday, we'll play away in London. Newcastle United do not play that weekend. So that's an opportunity for you to go if you're in the area down south. And then we're at home at Sheffield United. Then away at Portsmouth, literally my birthday weekend, that. Now, people are going to dread going to Portsmouth, but I believe it's a great time to play them away from home because it is the warmer weather. You really don't want to go to Portsmouth in the winter. I've done that. It's nippy. But I will be going back up to the Spinnaker Tower again. And then the big 2 in October, Durham at home on that weekend. Hopefully that gets pushed to the Sunday. We play Everton. The men's play Everton that weekend. And then the following week, that is international break away. So no doubt I will put my house on it. That'll be at the Stadium of Light. I guarantee you that. It's international break. It's your biggest rivals. Sunderland know they can make a lot of money from this fixture. Put it at St. James's Park, and the allocation will just fly through the roof. Be interested to see the ticketing on that, though. Whether actual NUFC women supporters go, or just because they say Sunderland versus Newcastle, you get people just tagging along because they want to tag along because it's the namesake. Hopefully not. But yeah, so they're the first 5 fixtures, and we've been waiting for Sunderland to come out, and that's the big one. And of course, we've got the Continental Cup, which we could play the Durham or Sunderland once again. So interestingly, obviously, as I say, those fixtures will be narrowed down closer to either the Saturday or the Sunday, because one of them might get put on TV. And you've also got to remember the lasses as well are also going to be on Sky, Highlight Show, and the BBC for the first time ever. And again, it's raising the profile of the lasses game. So that is absolutely brilliant for that as well. Michael is going to be very busy booking some coaches when the season starts in September. Laugh out loud, says Northern Shark, 100%. I know he'll be dreading it. Obviously, he's been on this show, the podcast, a couple of times, nicknamed Cozy's Travels. That will be an interesting one. I don't want to be on a coach going all the way to Portsmouth, put it that way. No, thank you. I will have a fly down, which I am looking to do a lot more, or I'll drive. We'll see on that as well. James has gone on to say, well done for doing a live stream, by the way, Lee. It's not easy considering the news, but much appreciated. Such an outpouring of love for Colin shows the depth of feeling for him and what he did for North East football. Brilliantly well said, James, especially the last part as well. He's an absolute legend, and people say that loosely, but he literally is a legend, and we'll do the tribute show later on this week as well. But those are the first 5 fixtures, which everybody was getting excited about. But Joe sent us a clip in before finding out, and I wanted to ask him, who would he like to see? What's he looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to, obviously, everyone's looking forward to when's the Durham match going to be? When's that Sunderland match going to be? I am really looking forward to them, and I want to see if, like, especially the Macca matches, I want to see if they are going to be played at St James's Park and at the Stadium of Light. I'll have to watch after that one. But I'm hoping that that's going to be the case, so I'm really, really, really looking out to them. And I'm also really looking forward to when the Portsmouth and Southampton away games are going to be. I am very much looking forward to going down to hopefully their, like, mains and men's stadiums and watching a match in them grounds, because there's some beautiful grounds down there. And especially, I would love the Portsmouth one to fall on my birthday, so I can fall on my birthday weekend, so I can do another one of them big trips down to Portsmouth, because that is a match. We're seeing how competitive that match was. I can't wait for that to happen this season. I'm really looking forward to the Portsmouth match. I'm hoping the order of things is that it's a bit staggered, so we don't get a clump of tough opponents back to back. Although the test would be good, I think every team's going to be a test here. So I'm hoping for, like, not like a big back to back of, Sunderland, Durham, Blackburn, all back to back. Like, no. First home game. Well, I would like to see our first game being a home game, but first home game, seeing who that's against, seeing who we're going to be cheering against. I hope the Sunderland games as well are sort of like one of the early in the season and one later in the season. So maybe we go away to them first, maybe in like November, and then not like the back end of January, February, March. Say March, they come to us. Do you know? I don't want them too close as well. So yeah, I think that goes along the lines of staggering the tougher opponents. Definitely stagger the tougher opponents. That's what I want to see in the fixtures. But most of all, I really want to see when Sunderland's are and Portsmouth and Southampton. Come on, I really want to do good away trips for them. Looking forward to this season. Back over to you, Lee.
A few of those right. Obviously, the first home fixture isn't the first game of the season. It's away from home, unfortunately, but it was almost on the right lines with Sunderland. Obviously, we're going to play them back in March. We'll come to that in a minute. And obviously, we've got them in October time. So those 2 games, Durham and Sunderland, are brilliant games, by the way, one week after another week. I think that's brilliant, which is fantastic. And obviously, I'll be looking to see where I'm going as well, because obviously that'll clash with the men. So hopefully these get narrowed down sooner rather than later, to be honest with you. But Joe is very excited. Portsmouth one was an interesting one. So Joe, he's got his wish there. And I've been speaking to Joe on WhatsApp because he is at work. We're going down to Portsmouth in the summer, which is a lot better than going in the winter. The Southampton one, which he's asked about, we'll touch upon it now. Let's bring it up on full screen for everybody who is watching on Twitch and on YouTube. So we've covered the first few games up until October, and then the Southampton away fixture is right at the beginning of February in winter. Ooh, that's not a great trip, I'll be honest with you, in winter. But right at the beginning of February, right? Now, these are subject to change. I must say these fixtures, as I say, because 1 or 2 might get changed, and then we might have league fixtures during the week as well. But if you take a look at March, which Joe was hitting on, he would like to play Sunderland later in the season. Again, we've got back-to-back games, Durham away in March, and then the following week, Sunderland at home. Now, I haven't checked fully of the international break, but I do know there is one in March, And I do know the FA Cup quarter-final is normally later in the month of March. I think that might be London City Lionesses at home. But that's when we can play the Mackhams. Obviously, that'll be interesting because there's a lot of connections between all the clubs in the North East. Players will move around because a lot of them are obviously semi-pro. But it'll be interesting, semi-pro in the last few years rather. It'll be interesting to see. And obviously we end the season away at Blackburn, which isn't too bad. It's not a bad drive. That's only a couple of hours. But we've got a few London trips, a few journeys, Portsmouth, Southampton, Bristol City. When do we play them? Away from home in November, so the winter hits. Birmingham isn't too bad, 3.5 hours as well. It's the London games, Portsmouth, and of course Southampton. Now, one team that is missing on this fixture list, of course, is Reading. That would have been in here, and that would have been a long fixture as well to go to, but Reading obviously dropped to 5th tier because of the financial crisis across men and women across the whole of that club. So unfortunately, we'll only have 20 league games this season instead of 22 because they've dropped out, which means there's only one team that will be relegated from this division. That's it. So, yeah, those are the fixtures, everybody. You can see all of them on the social media. If you're listening on the audio, have a look at club social media. Have a look at Newcastle Fans TV's social media. We've got them up on there for you as well. So I want to know if everybody that is watching in the live chat, which games are yous excited about seeing? It has to be surely the derbies. I think Sunderland is good. Durham is good, but I think the Sunderland one edges it because it is naturally hatred of one another. Durham is probably a little bit softer. It's local. It's just down the road. It's probably not even half an hour drive. Probably 20-minute drive. Well, it is down to Maiden Castle, and it's just past the city centre. So, of course, Sestra played there, went down there when we got beat off Sestra a couple of seasons back. But, yeah, so fantastic fixtures are out. People can, well, I say start planning, but they need to narrow that down further closer to the time as well. And so, yeah, let us know which fixtures you're looking forward to. So, Adri's gone out to say hi, Ali. Malek Tiao is on his way to Newcastle, and Pavlovic and another Milo Federico Chiesa 20 million deal for Newcastle, and Jonathan David arrived at Newcastle. I think that's just speculation. I know there is some big talk about that. We don't want to focus on the men's because this is a women's podcast, of course. But yeah, Newcastle United men and women will be doing a lot of transfers, no doubt, in the next few weeks. I don't think the lasses are finished. I don't think the men are finished as well. James has said, as a Northwest based fan, not too many close to me, but I'll be definitely attending Blackburn away. Well, they might get us drawn also, James, in the Continental Cup. So you never know. We might get one of the teams, we might even get a Manchester club, potentially. So you never know. You might get Liverpool, Everton. So they're not too far from you as well. Obviously, there was a lot of games, I remember, last season in the Midlands. There was loads. There was like Stoke. There was Stourbridge. There was the cup game against Bodmere, St. Michael's Bodmere. Wolves, there was another one that was in Telford, West Brom. There was absolutely loads that were in that area, a clutch of Midlands teams. So a lot of them have been wiped out, except from Birmingham City. So, yeah, so thankfully that it's not as many, but they've been replaced by London in Southampton and Portsmouth. But there you go. Thank you very much for Joe for sending in his clips. Of course, we wanted to do this as a little one-off special, a little bit of a shorter one because we knew that the fixtures were coming out today, so we wanted to get a video out there. And obviously, the sad news about Colin passing away is obviously the devastating news, which will impact a lot of people who go to games and know Colin on a personal level as well. But as I say, once again, we'll do a tribute later on this week from yourself, Johnny, Dale, potentially, and Joe as well. Got to get to a WSL, so both Manc and Liverpool clubs, says James as well. But yeah, thank you very much for the latest podcast. They're all available on all the apps if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're listening, you can also watch this episode on YouTube with all the graphics as well. But I'm going to leave you with an image of Colin. And Colin, I love you, mate. All the best from Newcastle Fans TV. Rest in peace, Colin.